Oh, poor Phoenix. It's not often you see him so dejected looking.
Yeah, he's generally a pretty positive presence in the film.
Don't blame yourself, Mr. Wright. Mr. Edgeworth played a very clever game.
That he definitely did.
I think it's worth mentioning that Phoenix Wright is one of the few characters in video game or fiction in general who is not the main subject of his own stories.
That is true. It's always the person or the person he's trying to defend, really, isn't it?
Exactly, it's all about finding out about them. He's just assumed as a force for good.
He's the medium by which the story is told more than anything else.
Yeah,
I'll meet you there when
he's the narrator essentially.
Is it just me, or does it sound very discerning when she turns around and says, "I'll be there when you've pulled yourself together"? A little bit sort of disdain.
Yeah. Now I should just say at this point that the sound has been taken away from the actual video because the music that we used in the original at this point was by REM, which is not allowed by the very strict measures taken by YouTube.
I'm pretty sure anyone who's ever put up a YouTube video with something that even remotely wasn't their own knows how irritating it can be. Not that we're bad-mouthing YouTube at all.
Mm-hmm. No,
That was the worst performance I'd ever seen.
What was?
The notes
There's
left.
no possible way you can win.
Oh,
These
So
Alright.
I'm not talking about like you or anything like that. No.
yeah.
The note. I mean, that's a bit harsh to sort of say to the person who's trying to prove your sister innocent.
Gotcha.
That
Yeah,
was a
sorry, you
terrible
were quoting from the.
No,
notes.
I was not. I was not saying that you.
I
were
wasn't
a bad
expecting
performance.
such a harsh critique, Sean.
Oh no, I'm a nice guy.
To complete your collection, here is the final piece of registered evidence from the SL9 case.
It's the tip of that broken knife, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can tell. We actually broke a knife. Went to great measure to do so.
Oh yes, I spent £8 on a kitchen knife and then snapped the end off, in a drawer of all things.
What REM song was over this again?
Right, this REM song, which you now cannot hear yet again, is called "Until the Day Is Done."
Right,
Yes,
yes.
yes. Sorry, I was just-
anyone who wants to go and listen to REM, support them, and so that's okay. YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's just any music produced by Warner, it will not be allowed by YouTube. I'm given to understand.
Which is annoying because it fits really well.
Yeah, well, I thought so. Anyway. Ah, yes. Now, this was one of my favourite scenes to write. I thought that the emotional exchange between Phoenix and Marshall was had a level of understanding to it.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it kind of shows again that Marshall's really on their side. Despite the fact that he lied, and despite the fact that all that stuff went on in the evidence room, he's still on their side.
Yeah.
No point. They can't prove a motive, but the evidence they got, my face might
You
as
really
well be
wonder,
out.
now he's not on the police force at all, what kind of job would Jake Marshall go and do?
I don't know.
Aside from the obvious rodeo guy or
Yeah.
something like that. Because for all his cowboy mannerisms, I can't really imagine him doing anything cowboy-esque,
Oh,
particularly.
He was my brother, my little
The
brother.
problem is that, of course, being unashamedly set in Scotland, this version of Phoenix Wright, Jake Marshall just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Your brother was the prosecutor.
So
on
we
the
find out
SL9
about
case.
Neil Marshall.
Yeah.
I remember when he told me he was given the case.
Remember when I told Steve that, when I asked him to play Jake Marshall as well as Neil Marshall,
See him in action.
I was like, right, we need some way to define the two of them apart from just the white shirt and the black shirt. Put your glasses on for Neil and take them off for Jake. That'll do it.
Even in the game, they look incredibly similar. I mean, they are brothers, and brothers in TV series and video game series tend to look quite similar to each other, don't they?
Yeah.
That old idiom.
Neil was the best fist fighter there was. No one could get the upper hand on him, and there's more to it than that.
Some suspicion raised by such simple kind of ideas that he couldn't have been beaten in a fight.
And after
Mhm.
the case was over, all the detectives who worked on it were taken care of, except Goodman.
I think Jake Marshall is a very heart-driven character.
Oh, very much so. He's got probably one of the more clean motives of anybody in
Something else happened
the
that
series for
night.
why he's doing stuff.
Something was
Yeah.
covered up.
for his brother.
I should also say that this scene, calm and mellow as it is, was rushed through at an incredible pace at the very end of the day when we were filming.
I'll be honest, I think it flowed really well from line to line. There was a lot that just sort of came one after another. There wasn't need for a huge amount of retakes. That's probably why it felt like it went very quickly.
Or maybe it was just the sense of urgency. I was like, right, we've got to get this right first time, or it's going to take even longer.
See, I forgot about that. I mean, I look at the scene and I think it must have been done very early on because of how mellow you two are when you're chatting to each other. Not
Yeah.
that it would be one that was rushed at the end because Impact was closing up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, guys, this is an Impact Labs.
The award ceremony.
Uh-huh.
He was giving the King of Prosecutors.
I like that photo.
The photo is good. The photo was so vital that we got everything right in it because as anyone who's played the game already knows, so much rests on everything being in the right place in that photo.
Yeah. Also, the waistcoat that Neil Marshall is wearing, it was essential that we took that photo at the right time because we were going to have to stain and cut that waistcoat no end afterwards.
Oh yes.
It's important that we got some shots of it whole beforehand.
Otherwise, he just happens to have his arm over the hole on the blood, and he's holding his arm in a very strange position, so it covers a hole in the
Yeah.
blood on half of one side.
Or else have him sitting down so that the bottom half of the frame cuts off his waistcoat.
I think Phoenix must be somewhat unused to seeing such decent motives of people. Usually
You
it's
think?
just greed or jealousy or...
Well, you say that, but at the same time, he always resolves to believe in people.
That's true.
That shot was taken, the foot shot there was taken upside down and took an incredible number of takes.
I didn't know it was taken upside down. I must have not been there that day.
No, you were holding, you were,
Was I? I was
You were-
actually on the camera.
yeah, you were hanging the tripods from your hands and the camera dangling on the
I
floor.
honestly don't remember filming it upside down, though it makes
Mhm.
a lot more sense to do it that way.
Yeah.
Lana pulled some strings and
Well, it
sent
was
to the
much better than having you crawl along the floor next to my feet.
Oh yes.
2 names caught my eye. One of them was on the witness list. It was you, Emma.
Me? That's not right. What's the other name?
Neil Marshall.
I hope I'd never
I think this scene pretty much signifies the approach of the end game.
Yeah.
This is, yeah,
When Emma actually kind of reveals everything that's going on.
yeah, the involvement that she didn't even know she had in the
Yeah.
case.
Please don't make me go back there.
Emma, we have to. Everything I read.
I have to make you tell this tale of the worst day of your life for me.
We have to traumatize you in order to get this truth.
Murder to stop it from happening, which means the evidence that shows what really happened in that case must still exist.
I think it's now we've mentioned that how much your hair changes throughout this series. Sorry, the film. People are going to notice now, because I wouldn't
Oh,
have.
because they couldn't have noticed before.
I didn't notice before.
It
and I was
changes by
making the
a
thing.
good 3 inches between some scenes.
Okay, come with me. I'll show you the crime scene.
Then let's put this to rest.
Ah,
There you go. That kind of pretty much drives it
Mhm.
forwards to the conclusion. Just that phrase.
revelations inbound, people.
That won't work, Mr. Wright. It's an executive office.
This particular office that we used at Impact Laboratories was a very fortunate find. It was an unused office at the far end of the corridor, and it just so happened to be 2 offices knocked into one.
We did have to clean it up a little bit, as in there
A
was
little bit.
There was an awful lot of plaster and
We spent about a good hour or so with Henry the Hoover, going around that office.
did we not get thanked by Impact for cleaning it up as well?
Did we?
I think we might have.
I don't think we did.
You mean Lana's outburst in court?
I'd have remembered something like that.
2 years have passed since that incident.
I like the contrast between Gant's side and Lana's side of the office. Gant's side having lots of stuff on it, and Lana's side being completely devoid of anything at all.
Well, yes, but it's been disused for some time.
I have business elsewhere. Come walk with me and we'll talk
Although-
on the way.
He's still very helpful, isn't he?
He is, and despite the fact that, spoiler alert, Gant is about to be revealed as the bad guy,
Thanks for that. I hadn't watched this yet.
oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, we'll have to do this bit again. No, despite the fact that he is unambiguously the bad guy once all is revealed, I don't know, I think that in some way the fact that he's kept Lana's side of the office exactly as it was is sign of something resembling a soul in there.
Maybe just.
Something that means something to him.
You can see with a little shot there that Drew actually had quite long hair during this scene. And he's got it tied back in what a ridiculous looking ponytail that is.
See, now we had this problem to deal with because in the courtroom scenes that you're about to see next, Drew's hair was much longer than his first appearance in the first day in court. So we thought how best to transition between that. Because his hair wasn't going to get any shorter by itself, and we weren't going to get him to cut it because that, wasn't like he was being paid for this or anything. So we thought if we made it seem shorter by tying it back in a ponytail, then people might either not notice and think it was still as short,
Or assume he always had it.
or assume he always had a ponytail. So there's a little bit of film trickery that probably didn't fool a single one of you, but just to let you know what the thought process was behind that.
Of course, Emma stuck the glove in the door, so they can get right back in, no problem.
As anyone who's seen the blooper reels will notice, that bit where we ran off down the corridor had a hilarious crash.
How on earth do you manage to run into a corner? I don't know.
I just misjudged the turn.
This place has probably been scrubbed from top to bottom 100 times since then.
Not likely. Look at it.
Yeah, it's clearly not been cleaned in so long.
Yes, except if you could have seen how dirty it was before we came in here to film.
Well, that was a nice prop that we managed to get hold of. Very nice looking safe with a code combination that we could program and everything.
And surprisingly cheap. I mean, yeah.
Despite the fact that it ended up getting broken at one point.
Yeah, I was worried that we'd have a serious problem getting hold of a proper looking safe. I was worried we'd have to use some sort of small cupboard and then put a sticker on it that looked like buttons, but actually, go on eBay.
A sign that said, "This is a safe."
Exactly. I went on eBay and actually, you can get a safe pretty decent like that one for about 20 quid. It's very, very reasonable.
Yeah, flashback, which means different coloured tone.
Storm must have cut the power to this part of the building.
I love the film noir bits.
Yes.
Yes, and actually here comes Peter Gowdy, the man who plays both Joe Dark and Bruce Goodman.
The murderer and the murderee.
And the point I was about to make, the man who broke the safe.
Yep.
This is a man who cannot see a gadget without fiddling with it. And one day we were filming at Impact, we needed to use the safe, particularly a day when we had to open the safe to put stuff in or remove stuff, and he went and messed about with the code lock.
Somehow managed to break it.
Yes, he made too many wrong attempts at the code and the safe locked us out.
As you may have seen during that, we got our revenge by having Steve rugby tackle him.
Yes.
And we must have done that take at least 3 more times than was probably necessary, just as a bit of revenge.
Funny that how bits which involve violence or strenuous stunts tend to end up being taken more than once.
It's punishment towards the actors more than anything else.
Yeah. Although as my recent filming projects have taught me, it's normally me.
Plus, Chief Gant's influence sped things up a bit. Is that important?
I hope it wasn't important because we just talked over it.
Yeah. Oops.
If at this point you still haven't actually watched the whole film properly,
Then what on earth are you doing watching this?
True. I like that pose.
Yeah, there wasn't actually any need for a still photo there, but I liked that so much when we took it that I wanted to include it.